This is the straight pull. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I remember the very first day and the very first job that I did when I started window cleaning. And I had this feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing. And that feeling lasted for a good 3 or so years. I always felt that I was underskilled, underknowledged, and there was that desire to really want to learn as much as I can and to be as good as I can in the chosen job that I ended up doing. And when I used to watch other people work, all I saw was those guys they seemed to be having a lot more fun than I did. They seemed to know a lot more and they seemed to be able to do the job a lot better than I did. And that continued for many years. So that desire and hunger of wanting to be better and improving never waned, still to this day. And I would say about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, I met a guy who I was sort of knew from school, and he was window cleaning for a good, I think he left school before 16, and he was window cleaning all that time for people and also for himself. And he was working in areas that I was working in, and I thought, well, because I know this guy and he's always working in the same areas that I'm working in, it would be better if I could suggest to him, let's work together. And we did try working together for a few weeks. And the things that I had were, I was under the impression that if there's all these tools, I used to go to a hardware store and they had like a window cleaning section, and I assume that if they've got different size tools, squeegees, that must mean it's like the right size tool for the right size pane of glass. Makes sense. Otherwise they wouldn't be selling them. So I bought an array of sizes, and I used to use the sizes. I had that much sort of intelligence, but I just couldn't use them. I couldn't, for example, do this. I just couldn't do this without making a load of mess, a load of mistakes, and forever losing jobs because I'm just leaving lines behind which I thought were not there, but they were obviously there because I kept losing jobs over it. And by the way, when I first started window cleaning, the first 3 or 4 years, the only thing I could offer the customer was a very cheap price. I couldn't offer them like a good service. Maybe they thought I was doing a good service, but I deep down knew that I was doing a really bad job. So when I did get pulled up, I had the sort of fallback clause of saying, yeah, I made those mistakes, but because I charged so much less compared to everybody else, that was my fallout clause of saying, yeah, I'm crap at my job, but you're only paying peanuts. And I knew I was charging peanuts because the other window cleaners I knew were charging double or more. But obviously I thought, well, they can do that because they're good at their job. And I did feel like a fraud as well. So putting in the low prices was sort of justification. And it wasn't so much that I wanted to earn more money. That was part of it. It was more that I just want to become better at my job because I know how crap I am at it. So when you're honest with yourself, well, for me anyway, I want to do something about it because I don't want to be in the same position as I am currently. I want to progress and get on and improve. So working with this guy called John, he had one squeegee, and one squeegee for everything. Well, I had like 5 or 6 different size squeegees for the jobs that we were doing, and he said that's overkill. And I said, yeah, but what's the point in buying these tools or selling these tools for people to buy if there's different size windows? So must be a 12-inch squeegee will fit this window, and a 6-inch squeegee will fit the small opener window, and a 16-inch. That's what I assume window cleaners buy these tools for? And he said, no, I just use one size tool fits all. So he was very good at using his squeegee because he had a smaller bucket of water than me, and he used a lot more soap, and he was able to do this thing that I could just not do. I just could not do this without jumping, shuddering, streaks, lines, mess everywhere. Just couldn't do it. And I was really focusing on how these people can do something that is just impossible for me to do. So he had the benefit, he had the skills that I lacked, but what he lacked was he had the versatility and the different size squeegees to take him to the next level. So we worked together for about a month, and we realized that we were earning probably more money on our own. And I took away from that if you had more soap to your water, your squeegee ability radically improves. So I came away with that thinking, now I know the answer, I can now do something about it. And that's exactly what I did. But unfortunately, John is still working with one squeegee, and he's still got the same small bucket, and he's still working out of a car. So he come away with no change, no adaptation, and he's exactly the same as he was 12 years ago. So he obviously thinks differently to me, and most window cleaners think like John, which I'll explain in a minute. So over time, I started learning about other types of tools for window cleaning. I was importing tools from America, because a lot of the tools in America are not sold here, because I was finding out about YouTube and forums and other websites, and I was buying all these tools thinking that I'm still not very good at my job, but if I keep buying these tools that these other window cleaners are talking about or using, then surely I'm going to be better. So I bought all these tools. I tried the best to get out of them. By this time I was adding soap to the glass directly and rubbing it in with a wet washer, and obviously my skills were a lot better. But what I found is I was still not getting the results that I put all this effort into getting better, because all the emphasis was not on the tools. Emphasis was on me being the failure. And buying more and more expensive tools, more variety of these brands of tools, I thought, well, that's the answer. I'm missing all these tools because these other guys on YouTube and on these forums are saying, I've got the Ledger, I've got the Sorbo, I've got the Pulex, I've got whatever. And a lot of this stuff wasn't actually sold in UK suppliers at the time. So bought all these tools, tried the best to tweak the way that I worked. Not the tool, not tweaking the tool, I'm tweaking the way I work. Just trying to get more and more effect out of it. So, for example, if I was being awkward when I'm working, I can do this here, and all I've got here is a load of detailing because I didn't angle my squeegee properly. So this is an extreme example. So what I learned and what I practice on doing is, if I aim my squeegee in the right place at the right time, I can get the best results possible like this. Obviously you can't get that kind of results with other tools, but that's basically what I focus on, was modifying everything I was doing, not the tool. And then the more that I started modifying the tools, I was getting complacent with all these tools that I was buying, because no matter how much I tried to change myself, I was never getting the benefits. What I was getting benefits, but I wasn't getting the benefits that I was expecting. And at this, like, the same sort of time, there was window cleaners like Window Cleaner Bloke and the Waggers and a few other people that used to talk on the forums as well, used to talk about modifying tools, dog earing, that kind of thing. And basically they were just focused on modifying the tools. So when I learned about modifying tools from reading forums before I got onto watching YouTube videos, and I'm guessing the people who are making the YouTube videos obviously came from these forums, and then they start making their own YouTube videos. for window cleaning. So I started modifying tools and thought to myself, yeah, modifying the tool really makes a difference. But the problem was, when this actually tool come to be in, when I sent these tools to the people who were experts at modifying tools, they always wrote back to me saying, this tool does nothing that you suggest it does. And that made me think, well, what's the problem? So I went out and sourced out some window cleaners that I knew, and I said, can you have a go on my tool? Because people are saying these tools don't work. And if you're working in an odd way, or you're not putting the soap in the sort of method that I'm using, you're not going to get the right sort of effect. And when I used to watch people working, they used to just hack at the window. And I'm thinking, well, these window cleaners on YouTube, they don't seem to be hacking too much at the window with their channels, but they're obviously not working like I work, but they can get their modified tools to perform, but they can't get this to perform. So, when I said about when I first started, I put all the emphasis on me being the problem. For most window cleaners, the emphasis is on the tool being the problem. Because when you're working away in your own little world, it's just you and your thoughts. And when I'm working away, I'm just thinking, this is just bog standard window cleaning, I'm not doing anything special at all. But as soon as I watch someone working in the street or on YouTube, then I realise, okay, I am really far ahead compared to these other guys. So these other guys, the majority of window cleaners and the waggers and the window cleaner blokes who are really good at inventing things and modifying things, they fail at one thing. They fail at being a good performing window cleaner. They fail at tweaking their techniques. So after all this that I've said in my video, all I focused on over the time was to improve the way that I worked, because the fault was me. The fault wasn't the tools that I was using. It took many, many years to realise that whatever I did, I could get some sort of benefit by changing and doing a slightly different sort of angle technique or whatever. I could get better performance, but there was always a failure somewhere on that window, somewhere. It was never perfect. So the emphasis was always made on me. So when I did come to modifying tools and then getting this tool manufactured, I had everything that I needed. I had modified my technique to a certain degree before I needed to modify the tools. And then once I modified the tool, this took a long time to modify, because what I often found is when I was going through the stages of getting it to work, it would work here, but when I go up here, there was detailing up here, and when I come down here, it worked here, but it didn't work down here. So to get this tool to work pretty much on any window, just by putting it in the right place at the right time, however you feel like doing it. If I wanted to be erratic and go all over the place and make a complete mess, as long as it goes in the right place at the right time, eventually I'm going to get zero detailing all around that glass. So the emphasis was always on me, because I always knew and thought to myself, I need to improve. But window cleaners in general, I think their egos are such, because they're working in their own world, and they do not, because that's what we do when we're working alone. We've got just us and our thoughts. They're thinking, well, I don't need to improve. I'm at the top of my game. And until you get a guy on YouTube saying, well, the majority of window cleaners around the world are nowhere near at the top of their game. And the thing that separates good window cleaners to everybody else who just work longer, harder, slower, getting less results, is, guess what? It's this thing here. This is the tool that is the dividing factor for window cleaners. The waggers, the window cleaner blokes, everybody else on YouTube. Most people on YouTube can't use this. Most people in the world can't use this, because they don't focus on themselves. They focus on the tool. They blame the tool. It's the tool, it's not me. That is the problem with this industry.